Evo, snijamo.
Mogu početi, ili?
Sad ću ja. Ajde, možete. Hoćete neke ovako, onda...
Da, hoćeš ti reći nešto.
Hello, how are you? Andrius, hi. Will somebody come?
Jer on tebe čuje.
I'm not sure. I've sent the invitation, but some of them told me that they will see the recording of the lecture.
Okay, we are recording, so we have your mail, so don't worry. After 45 minutes, it will turn off, so we will send you an invitation. Okay. Here is Kruna. I'm her helper, and everything will be great. I hope.
So, how much time have I done? Really?
45 minutes. You have 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay.
Andrius, can you? Is it 1 hour okay for you?
Yeah.
Tjaša, ti? Okay. Kaj smo rekli? Kaj trebamo napraviti? Okay, I will put you now on presentation.
Ne, ja ću pozdraviti.
Aha, Kruna.
I just wanted to greet you, to say hello. I'm very happy that you are here. Perhaps some things in this presentation you already know. Some things will be new to you, but it is not about knowledge. It is more important that perhaps some new ideas come and inspire you. So have a nice time. We'll start now. Pa sve radiš kad bi ja morala raditi.
Pa zato sam tu.
Dobro, i sad imam ovako. Image theater, from theater of masks and puppets to contemporary art form.
Do you see presentation?
Can you see?
Can you see? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody.
Sad svi vidimo.
Okay, and you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I'll not complicate now because the complication comes later on. Just a moment. A zašto mi se sad to neće sa strelicom pomaknuti? Ti si mi nešto tu zablokirao.
Treba se samo da nađem gdje ovo trebamo maknuti. Tako se vidi.
Što si maknuti?
Evo, da uđe baš u.
Look, the inspiring quotation, which Albert Einstein, his words, I'm quoting. It is true that I would not be able to explain the theory of relativity in words, but maybe I could rather play it on the violin. So it is somehow like the key of this presentation. The problem is first of all, about the terms and let's say definitions of the theater. Igor and me, we decided to call it the image theater. It can also, some people call it visual theater, some object theater, non-verbal theater, Figurentheater in Germany. And here I also I'm mentioning das andere Theater. It is a periodical about puppetry and related fields. Scena Plastična, it is a Polish artist. His theater is called Plastičny. It means something like fine arts. So there are many terms which are in use. No problem about it, because it doesn't matter that whether you use visual theater or you say image theater or object theater, it is more or less about the same. There are different approaches, but I'm not going to complicate about it. In some books I have seen somebody says that Figurentheater covers the broader field and the puppetry comes into it too. And in another literature, like object theater, they say that object is the term which comprises also Figurentheater and puppets. The problem about visual theater, it is my opinion, is that dance is also visual theater, and performance and mime is visual theater, but we are not talking about these fields. Object theater, the problem is that object has, in fact, two meanings. When you say object, we mean in philosophical sense the relation between subject and object. It means that a puppet is an object which on the stage becomes a subject, and the man handling it becomes, in most cases, object, not always, of course. Object can also be used for just things or materials. So it is another meaning. And we must be sure which covers what we are talking about. No, so let's go about Figurentheater. I did not want to translate this term because it is used in German, and it means that it covers a broader field, and puppetry is just one within it. It means new developed forms and old, let's say, traditional and modern puppetry. The author of the book, Das Unmögliche Theater, asks the questions so that we can, according to these questions, we can see what is the position of theoretical approaches to this field. He says, is it just Figurentheater? Is it just a more respectable term for a kind of a folk art which has reduced itself to children's toys? So the problem is, what does it mean, Figurentheater? Why do we talk about Figurentheater? Why don't we say puppetry? So he also says, is it also better word for the puppetry, which has can't conceal its minority complex? You know that it is present even today. Does it mean some new forms like animations of objects, materials? Does it mean playing in open where the animator is not hidden behind a puppet? Another artist says that in puppetry, these theoretical debates hasn't been done yet, although it has been finished in fine arts, in music, in dance through the 20th century. Yeah, I don't know whether you agree with it or not, but in my experience, I can see the big difference between how it is, how to say, theoretically founded. I mean, the art of puppetry and other art forms. Here we can see about, we can read about how it is puppetry and related forms are irregular art. It means that some things are put upside down, you know, because we are introducing dead objects which pretend to be subjects. I'm not going to read all this about it. It is a sum of it.
Kruna will send it to you, so
yes.
you will have it.
Yes, I am sure, I am aware of it that we have not enough time for reading all these things. So we are going to more to practical part of it, where I'll share with you the experience of two workshops, which were held by authors who are the first names of visual or image theater. And it was just meant as introduction. We can't skip to mention Bauhaus, artists which wanted to introduce more fine arts on the stage. Stravinsky is one who coined the term visual theater to explain what they were looking for. So we can go further. Here you have probably seen, I didn't want to make a show of Bauhaus figures or puppets or costumes, but here you can see some of this, and there are many possibilities that you come to know to Bauhaus theater, which was how to say, revolutionary turn of the theater art and fine arts in the 20th century. Here we can see that you know what protean means. It is a goddess, a Greek goddess, which changes its appearance, and you can't know in advance what it will be changed to. Puppet, the character of the puppet is something like that. But here, when we are talking about visual and image theater, we can see a variety of different approaches. It means it is not one aesthetics, because it is a synthesis of many different art forms. If somebody comes from the dance background, it will be more used in his productions. If somebody comes from plastic arts or painter or sculpture, then his image theater will be more like the arts of art forms of fine arts. Techniques or new media are also very present here. I think these guidelines are very important, so I'm going to read them somehow to approach the second part of this meeting, which is about this workshop I've mentioned. Guidelines and differences of traditional approach in theater and the approach which is characteristic for image theater or visual theater. It means to overcome the literary linear continuity of narration. You know that it was traditionally always the other way around. We always started from literature and keep the action in a linear way. Image theater requires its own author because he must think in images and write by images. So if the starting point is literature, he must rewrite the text, how to say, or subject in images. That's very important. So who is the author then? If he writes in images, he doesn't need text, and text can be an inspiration. Overcome psychologically naturalistic theater. It is also the case with the puppet. Merge different art fields within one stage project. Different art fields, it means that we are free to choose according to our will. Develop the predominance of plastic arts as well as dance versus usual predominance of text. In the next slide, I'll say something more about Craig. He made how to say a humorous comment on this about the role of the text in the theater. Breaking away from static, purely decorative scenography and costumes, overcome strict borderlines between body, costume, puppet, mask, objects, and sets. It is very important because usually in traditional theater, there was a strict borderline between scenography, costume, sets, body, puppet. And in this case, we are talking about, it is quite different. Introduce object as the subject of expression. Of course, it was about the dialogue of living and non-living world. In the conception of theater, theater work use the picture of unconscious. Unconscious, it means more dreamlike. It means that we are not guided always by logic, but by irrational approach. Here I mentioned about Craig, so I'm going to read this text. He is commenting his visit to Germany, and he went to the theater. And the point is about using the text and using the word in the theater. By and by, in going through the stage door of the theater, I saw the following words: Sprechen streng verboten, which means speaking strictly forbidden. The first moment I thought I was in heaven. I thought at last they have discovered the art of theater. But no, they have not got so far with the art. Queer, but the clue is in that very Sprechen streng verboten. So we mustn't take it literally, of course, but he wanted to say that there are other means of expression, not only speaking, not only the text. Here we are talking about image theater, and one should ask what, in fact, an image is. We were talking about images or pictures which are static, like in the gallery. It means they're just there, and that's it. That's the end of it. But in theater, images are dynamic. It means that they have not only the space component, but they have also the time. That's important. So the image is a kind of picture which is developing in time, which is speaking, which is performing. It is not an how to say, a gallery or like in history there were some fine arts artists, painters, for example, sculptures, which introduces their work on the stage, but it was not integrated in presentation. It was just something like exposition. So there's a difference between fine art and theater, and image theater is somewhere, how to say, in between. Image, so it is a very important term. It is the basic unit of our work to start with. Like a sentence in the text, for example. Image is a drive for dramaturgy and the starting point of performance. So if we have one image, we have the clue of the situation, and we are developing it as far as we could, as it can say something. Then another image comes. So these are the units which build the whole. The way of producing images can be different. It's very important to notice this difference. Either working with logic, relying on our precognition and learned ways of comprehending the events and the world. Baixas, a Catalanian author, representative of image theater, he says, we are coming to our supermarket of ideas. It's very, very witty, in my opinion, to say that we have, all of us have supermarket of ideas. We have many things which we have learned, and we somehow somehow stick to it. We are not free to come to new ideas or to open ourselves to new ideas. So it is one way. Another way is searching for other ways. Meditation, the dark or darkness, imagination, irrational, just to create condition for new ideas to emerge. Somehow it can be, hard to understand, but always in arts, like in painting, like in dance, like in music, this irrational, not only logic was present and gave birth to great masterpieces. Then next is to find a way to readjust the balance between rational and irrational, because we need both. The problem of understanding or being rejected by the audience can appear in the cases of image theater, because it is very subjective and very intimate, and so it can happen that people are not able to understand what we want to say. In that case, it's very important to invent and to explain our code. It is like the key, and we must skip to the code, because otherwise it is chaos. A traditional role on stage components change. Now, so that we are talking about visual or image theater, we must be aware of the fact that actor is present in a different way. We don't use the word actor. Sometimes we can use it if the actor is in his normal, how to say, role as an actor on the stage, as a man on the stage, and he's communicating or he's in dialogue with the puppet, let's say. But in another cases, we can say, rather say performer or animator. Peter Schumann, an American puppeteer, he didn't say actors for his people. He said, they're just my people. They have to accomplish some jobs, some work to do. Scenography is also has also different role, because if puppet, let's come back to puppetry as a clue, if puppet is not living, it is made of the same material as scenography. Why is scenography then dead? Why is scenography also not living? Props, the same manner. Costume. Costume is not as traditionally used, something which embellishes the actor, or has the historical meaning or something like that. Costume can also be treated freely, and it can become a puppet, it can become part of the scenography. It can change the roles from moment to moment. Sound is also in a new role, and a light, which can also be independent. And using just light, we can deliver our message. So we can say that the stage is living before the actor or the performer steps on it, because scenography and other elements are already talking. It is so in that genre, that kind of theater. Subject-object relation says that not even the deadliest thing in the scenery is dead. So it's quite different, and why not to use these differences in our work? Audience, the problem, it is not a problem, but the new role of the audience is that audience we don't give the audience the information, exact meaning of something and exact linear story, but the audience has also to decipher the signs we are offering. So it means that the audience is part of the performance and that it is more active. Introducing various visual elements, it is also a new praxis, like stage sculptures, constructions, objet trouvé, room installations, stage drawings, sketches, mask, kinetic object, and so on. And not only introducing these things mentioned here, these objects, but also new methods which are influenced by film, like montage, collage. So it is something which is new in that genre. Analysis of object possibilities. Let me see. Perhaps it's too long to. Yeah. Okay. When we are talking about objects, we must be aware of the fact that there are many categories of objects, all of which we can use in our work. Utility items, like, let's say, kitchen items, found objects, things or materials from nature, shaped objects, constructions, man as object, artificial figure object as living beings like puppets and masks, and space, environment as object. It means that puppetry is also present here, but it is not the only possibility. Utility items. Here we have objects from everyday life. Here I just wanted to skip it and to stress the meaning of the object. So it means that is the code of our work. We can use the chair in the meaning, literary meaning, and it is on the stage, the chair, you know. But we can also use the chair as a metaphorical object, then it is not anymore a chair, it is a horse. And the third example is that we are using the chair as a symbol or a sign, and we are not sure about one meaning of it. You know, it means that it can be a chair and at the same time something new. It requires different meaning. Natural objects, I know that you have seen performances using natural materials like, how to say, branches, sandstones, water, even air. So it is already seen in practice. Land art, which can also be covered with this term. Manipulation of the time, it's also very important. I already mentioned the film technique, which is present in image theater or visual theater. The 10 minutes, okay. It means that it is not, we don't cope with real time, but the time is also subject of our procedures. We can use accelerated time, which means speed up, the action is speeded, time lapse, like in film. Decelerated time, it means that action is slowed down. Apparent standstill, frozen action, stillness, hush. Or we can combine all this. Ritualization of time, introduce repetition, which in normal procedure, in normal art forms is not present. Physically defined time then transforms into spiritual time, more like structure of dreams. And to achieve the continuity, we must, we replace it by a sense of eternal now. It is the influence of music too, okay? And the first,
now we will stop this Zoom.
A koliko će onda pauza trajati? Od možemo fizički odmah ići, jel?
Da. And we will, I will send you invitation for new Zoom. Just, I don't know how to stop the recording. Aha, okay.